Hello again and welcome back to my channel. My name is Patrick Allen. I'm a licensed realtor with Keller Williams Southern Arizona, and in today's video we will be discussing real estate. The local Tucson housing market of 2022 is one that is characterized by rapid change and involving more than just a little bit of uncertainty. As the U.S. economy came to grips with runaway inflation, the likes of which we haven't seen in more than 40 years, we saw the 30-year mortgage interest rate more than double from the low to mid 3% in January to over 7% by November. The doubling of mortgage interest rates in a single calendar year is something that we've never seen in the history of the country dating back to before the Great Depression. Home prices have proven incredibly stubborn to respond to the Fed's efforts to break the back of inflation. And for the first time in decades, Tucson sees itself as actually slightly below the U.S. average in terms of its city's affordability. How do we get here exactly? Is the Tucson housing market about to crash just like it did 15 years ago during the Great Recession? Or are we just as likely to see another huge run up in prices despite the fact that interest rates are solidly in the 6%? Today we got 5 key metrics to understand exactly where the Tucson housing market is and where it's currently likely to go as we get later on in 2023. This is your first quarter market update for Tucson. My name is Patrick, and welcome back to my file. The current housing market is certainly holding its own in terms of one of the most complicated and unpredictable markets of our lifetimes. With so many counterintuitive reports in the news headlines these days, it can feel like a really scary economic climate to potentially be buying a property in. And granted, timeless wisdom will tell us that it's about time in the market and not about specifically timing the market, but does that old adage actually hold up in today's incredibly unique times? To help answer that question, we turn to today's sponsor, the Tucson Association of Realtors. Not that they sponsored this video or even aware of this video in any official capacity, but did you know that you can access current and archived MLS statistics every single month for free as soon as they're published? All you need to do is to go to the www.tucsonrealtors.org and navigate to the MLSS-AZ statistics via the drop-down in the central navigation bar. We call it Melissa for short. There's no need to create an account or sign in order to access the data. Simply click to download the PDF reports. Using this excellent free resource, let's now jump into the actual data and find out what we need to know about the Tucson housing market. Stat 1, median home price. To close out the 2022 year, we ended up just $100 short of $375,000 for median home price, which is up from $350,000 that we saw a year ago. So that represents a 7.1% increase from December of 2021 through December of 2022. While there are absolutely submarkets within, let's call it Metro Phoenix, which saw reductions in home price as a result of the rate increases that we saw last year, we're simply not seeing that here in our market here in Tucson. Now, I realize that may come as a surprise to a few of you that are listening to this video, despite the fact that it's generally doom and gloom being reported in the national news regarding the national housing cycle. We here in Tucson firmly find ourselves entrenched in Phase C of the business cycle. The following image is provided by the team at ITR Economics, who also produces the Trends Talk podcast, both of which are fantastic resources you can use to better understand the macroeconomic climate, not only of housing, but of all major industries across the globe. Now, according to the ITR Economics framework, Phase C represents a trend of slowing growth, a market where prices are increasing on a year-over-year basis, but the rate of appreciation is decelerating. Buyers and sellers can both agree that the hyperinflation that we've seen in the cost of housing over the last 2 to 3 years has not been sustainable. And the fact that we are trending more towards a single-digit rate of appreciation rates, I see as a very good and healthy sign that our market is recovering from the incredibly atypical market that we have seen since 2020 and 2021. Historically, homes appreciate between 3 and 4% every single year, irrespective of the long-term market cycles. And due to persistently low levels of inventory that we're experiencing here in Tucson, it seems as though we still have a little bit of runway before we see our appreciation rates begin to underperform. Stat number 2, closed sales. I think Brian Buffini said it quite well when he had pointed out that we are not in recession in terms of home pricing, but we have in fact entered recession in terms of the number of home sales which are actually occurring. With total volume representing not only the relative size of the U.S. housing market compared to historical data, but also the relative amount of commission income that is available to go around to various real estate brokers operating across the country, it's easy to see that Tucson has experienced substantially fewer sales than we have grown accustomed to seeing over the last 2 to 3 years. Now, while it is in fact very common to see our market bottom out in November and December of every single calendar year, the bottom that our market found in 2022 was one of the lowest that we've seen in more than 5 years. A paltry 665 properties closed last month, which is down 50% from the number that we saw just a year ago in December of 2021. It means that we have substantially fewer buyers who still consider themselves actively in the market after getting over the sticker shock of current mortgage payment rates, as well as correspondingly fewer sellers who were able to subsequently find a buyer and negotiate acceptable terms. So the question becomes why? Despite a generally positive outlook from an appreciation side of things, why are we seeing so few transactions actually successfully occurring in our market today? And the explanation for that has a lot to do with the third statistic that we're going to jump into. Stat 3. Affordability. While it is important that we keep proper context as to how our local market is performing relative to national averages, there's no question that affordability in housing is a serious concern to all Americans right now. Now, some will claim that the housing market went up too much in a short period of time and that we need to see some subsequent fall in prices in order for that to even out. And still others will say just as loudly that interest rates went up entirely too quickly and the only way for our market to stabilize is for us to see the Fed cut rates as we enter into 2023. Now, unfortunately, both of those statements are in fact opinions and not facts, and both are attempting to point to the concept of affordability. Can the median income earner in a given city afford to buy a median-priced home given today's current interest rate? As we can see in the data, Tucson's housing affordability has been falling rapidly as mortgage rates have increased throughout 2022. We ended the year down 34.5%, and we're at something like half of what we saw back in December of 2020. So at the end of the day, affordability in Tucson is a bit of a mixed bag. Now, on the one hand, Tucson's relatively low median income has absolutely not kept pace with the increase in the cost of capital it takes to borrow money and buy a house. A score of 72 means that affordability in Tucson has fallen below the US average, and therefore Tucson's housing is less affordable than dozens of markets throughout the Midwest and southeastern United States. Now, on the other hand, an analysis of data provided by Redfin of major housing markets within 1,000 miles of Tucson shows only San Antonio and arguably Albuquerque as having more affordable housing. Tucson's reputation for years has been that we are the more affordable option for most cities that you will see across the southwestern United States. However you slice it, we're definitely going to want to keep our eye on what affordability is looking like as we enter the summer and fall, and to get a better sense of where our market is going into the end of the year. Is it likely that we'll see some sort of decrease in interest rate movement as we get into the later parts of the year? And is that going to partially make up for the fact that we are continuing to see increases in median home price? That tug of war is going to have a lot to do with what we see in our next market statistics. Stat number 4, absorption. The rubber of affordability will inevitably meet the road that is housing inventory, and our market will eventually find the balance that it's been looking for the last 2 to 3 years. We finished 2022 with just under 2,300 homes for sale, which suggests that our market has in fact returned back to pre-pandemic levels of inventory. So that's one check mark back in the normalcy box. Absorption rates look at not only the number of homes that were for sale in a given month, but also the rate at which properties go under contract, the rate at which sellers are accepting offers and taking their homes off of the market. So by dividing the inventory by the rate of consumption, we're able to get a score of how many months of inventory that we have in our market relative to how quickly that inventory is in fact turning over. Although we can see in the data that we are up almost 100% on a year-over-year basis from December of 21 through December of 22, that has far more to do with the fact that 1.2 months of inventory that we finished 2021 with was just an absolutely absurdly low number. By contrast, 2.3 months of inventory that we currently are seeing is very much on par with what our market was producing in 2019 before the COVID pandemic threw our market sideways for a couple of years. So said a different way, due to the absurdly low inventory levels that we have seen over the last couple of years, we're expecting to continue to see relatively high year-over-year increases in both absorption as well as the number of homes that are for sale on the market. Both of those are going to be signs that our market is moving towards a more normal market, a more balanced market. Or if our market flips later on in the year and we see this number start to go down again, that will obviously be a telling statistic. So however that washes out as we enter late 2023 is both going to have a lot to do with our fifth and final metric. Fifth metric, days on market. Aside from closed sales, by far the biggest mover in the data over the last 2 quarters of 2022 was that of days on market. Up essentially double from the absurdly low 24 days on market that we saw in December of 21. It currently takes about 6 weeks for a home to sell on the open market. Once again, that puts us quite close to where we were in 2019 before the pandemic hit. And as we can see, according to the histograms, it's really not uncommon at all for our market to bounce around from anywhere from 40 to 60 days on market. And that ended up being a pretty sticky place where we found ourselves for nearly a decade between the Great Recession of 2008 and basically 2020. Basically, everything that we know about real estate in our recent memory from the last 2 to 3 years is itself the anomaly. The prediction and the outlook moving forward is that we're going to see our market return to a more normal market, more predictable, as both prices and mortgage rates continue to stabilize. Looking forward, it seems as though the tug of war in our market is very much pitting affordability concerns on one side and pulling against an environment of persistently low inventory. If we see rates decline at all going into the strong summer selling season, it's very possible we will see our market flip in a way that more strongly favors sellers. But as of right now, we're going to want to keep our eyes peeled on the number of pending sales and closed sales that we see in the next coming months' market data. That's going to be our key leading indicators with where our market is headed at the end of 2023. So I really hope you found that information of value, whether you consider yourselves in the market to buy or sell a home in the city of Tucson or not. If so, feel free to like this video and feel free to share it with anybody who would like a little bit of updated information on what we're seeing in our market statistics. Definitely check out next week. We're going to be coming back to you with my top 10 book recommendations to make your 2023 an educational one at that. So we'll see you next week. My name is Patrick. This has been My Filing.